of France and the Low Countries. It was in Holland that the next crack appeared in the policy of not bombing centers of population. The German forces invading Holland were eager to overrun the country as quickly as possible so that they could turn south to join in the battle against the French and the British. The Dutch strategy was to fall back and defend their principal cities of Amsterdam and Rotterdam. On the 14th of May, after some fighting, the Germans demanded the surrender of Rotterdam, but the Dutch gave no immediate answer. The Luftwaffe was therefore ordered to bomb the port. While the bombers were in the air, the Dutch surrendered Rotterdam. Radio messages to the aircraft to abort the mission did not get through, and the attack went ahead. The center of Rotterdam was reduced to a sea of flames. The British thought that the air attack against Rotterdam meant that the Germans had resorted to terror bombing. While they were not prepared to employ the same tactics, Rotterdam did provoke an easing of British bombing restrictions. German centers of war industry east of the Rhine River were now added to the RAF Bomber Command's target list. Inevitably, a few civilians were killed in these raids, but they were not the primary target. Furthermore, the British bombers were too few in number to make much of an impression. On June 22, 1940, France was forced to surrender. This left Britain on her own. A now triumphant Hitler was convinced that his last remaining enemy must make peace. But across the English Channel, Prime Minister Winston Churchill made it clear that Britain would fight on. Consequently, invasion now appeared to be the only option in Hitler's eyes, and preparations for it got underway. The English Channel might seem to the Germans to be just a large river, but before crossing it, they had to gain air supremacy over southern England. Only after destroying the Royal Air Force could the invasion succeed. From the middle of July 1940, the Luftwaffe tried to do this by attacking British convoys in the English Channel, in the hope that this would draw out the RAF fighters. The RAF, knowing that the main battle was yet to come, refused to be tempted to any significant degree. On the 1st of August, Hitler issued another directive, which was addressed primarily to Hermann Göring and his Luftwaffe. This was to launch its main offensive against the RAF on the 6th, or as soon as possible afterwards. Hitler stressed that there was to be no terror bombing without his authorization. Even so, such a massive air campaign created a real danger of bombing blunders. Poor weather delayed the main German air offensive against Britain until August 12, 1940. The Luftwaffe attacked the RAF fighter airfields and the control rooms that coordinated their operations. It also initially went for the radar stations on the English coasts, which provided the crucial early warning needed to intercept the German planes. A major German error during the subsequent battle was not to keep up these attacks until the system was destroyed. The German bombers had a strong fighter escort built around the now well-proven Messerschmitt Me-109. These did have a problem, however. The fuel they carried allowed them only 20 minutes flying time over England itself, and this included combat. This meant that the RAF fighters were often able to get in among the bombers without interference, and the number shot down began to mount. The Germans, on the other hand, enjoyed strength in numbers. The air battles were intense. Another spell of adverse weather forced a lull between the 19th and 24th of August and gave both sides a much-needed break. Hermann Göring now changed tactics, reducing the number of bombers attacking by day. But he reinforced their fighter escort in an attempt to complete the destruction of the RAF. The remainder of the German bomber force was switched to attacks by night against targets connected with the British war effort in order to stretch the country's air defenses. The first of these night attacks took place on the 24th and 25th of August and was to reveal that the German bomber crews had the same problems of navigation by night as the RAF. The targets were oil storage tanks in the British Midlands